It's a battle, win or lose. It's the friends you make, it's the road you choose. You got the right stuff, so make your mind up. Find the courage inside of you. If you're strong, you'll survive and you'll keep your dream alive. It's the battle frontier. Pokemon, be the best you can be and find your destiny. It's the master plan. The power's in your hand. Pokemon. You've got the strength to win it, so stay in it. If you're smart, you can take it all. If you're strong, you'll survive and you'll keep your dream alive. It's the battle frontier. Pokemon, be the best you can be and find your destiny. It's the master plan. It's the master plan. The power's in your hand. Pokemon.
Hello, welcome to this new series. I am joined with League Champion Incursio, and I am Professor Pine, Pokemon Evolution Researcher. Okay, that's not actually who we are, but I thought it'd be funny to say that. This is my buddy Red. He is a top-ranked player in Utah, and I am a YouTuber. We are here because most of the time we can spend probably 3, maybe 5 hours talking about Pokemon into the wee hours of the morning, so I thought, why don't we just make a dumb podcast around it? Hey, Red, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself, my guy?
Doing great. Happy to finally be doing this with you, because now I can finally actually talk about Pokemon and be productive.
You gotta love to knock two birds out with one stone, right?
Exactly. 2 Pidgeys with 1 Geodude. Anyways. Okay, so, about Scarlet Violet.
Oh, boy. Alright. Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Hey, you're the league champion. You go first, my dude.
So, as an overarching reaction to what we've seen thus far as of September 23rd, I'm excited. I'm actually more excited about this than I was about Sword and Shield. And from what they've been showing so far, I am at times a little nervous about a couple different aspects of it, but for the most part, I think it'll be great. Between the new mons, the new items, and what we've seen of the world itself, I am definitely looking forward to this. What about you?
Mostly, I'm just hoping this is, like, not becoming, Game Freak being burnt out, because over the last, year, we've almost gotten, 3 Pokemon games. And this is going to be, number... Hang on, let me... Yeah, this is going to be number 3, right?
Let's see here. Legends of Arceus, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl remake, although they did outsource that to a different company, and now...
And it shows. Oh my god, does it show.
No kidding.
Oh my god, fucking... I was so excited to hear that they were getting... they were getting a remake. Diamond and Pearl was getting a remake, because that was one of the Pokemon games I longed for the most, that I just couldn't get because I didn't have a DS. Lo and behold, to fucking find out that they murdered the fucking art style.
Yeah, I've heard arguments about how the overworld should not matter, but the problem is that is roughly about what you see 80% of the game that you're playing. So if you can't get past that, then you simply can't get past it. And when they said this was a faithful remake, in my opinion, they kept it too faithful while increasing the base amount compared to if you just bought Diamond and Pearl when it came out initially. It wasn't worth it, in my opinion.
Exactly. Another thing I was so excited about. I was so excited to finally get to see all these things, to fight Cynthia, to get my ass kicked, and just, see all this cool stuff. And yeah, I did get my ass kicked by Cynthia the first time around, but I didn't even faint and lose because the fucking friendship system is busted.
Yeah, the friendship system makes
it doesn't help when my fucking... Oh god, this is bad. It doesn't help when my fucking starter crits on the on her Garchomp 3 times in a row, and he holds on like he has a fucking focus sash.
Exactly. I think that for future games, I really hope that with the friendship system, because we've had bits of it with Pokemon Let's Go as well, I really hope that they make it so it is an option to have the effects take place, because it's almost impossible to do Nuzlocke run because of that. whether they dodge a move, they survive a move, or they crit when they weren't supposed to. That type of shit, I really do hope that they tone down.
Look, I'm all for the games embracing the anime and having those moments, but they happen too often. When you can pull the same bullshit Ash pulls in the game, you have a problem. Like, turn down the friendship like from an 11 to like a 2 and have it like be like have better, like less good RNG essentially. Like, okay, maybe I'm in a gym battle and maybe I get just crit out of nowhere. My dude is dying and he holds on. That's the hype moment. It's not hype when it happens 8 more times before and after the gym.
Exactly. And it's not even just that, but it's just the idea that Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl were supposed to be harder. The last 3 gym leaders, the Elite Four and Cynthia, were all supposed to have an actual competitive stat, such as IVs, EVs, good move pools, and even held item. They were supposed to be complicated and difficult, but thanks to the friendship system, it honestly is not that difficult.
Remember in Pokemon Coliseum, the final boss is just running a competitive comp. That's the reason why he's so difficult. It's not because the Pokemon you have are Ubered or whatever the hell have you. It's just a competitive comp, and that's why people had so much trouble with him. Let's never forget that fucking moment where his Slowking... pardon me, sorry. Let's never forget that fucking moment. Shit, I really shouldn't be drinking soda during this. Sorry. Let's never fucking forget that moment where the Slowking takes the Trant off... damn it. Let's never forget that moment when that Slowking takes the Trant off the Slacking, and then he uses an Omniboost on himself. Like, that's like the hardest thing to deal with in that entire game. That and Justy's fucking evasion gym, because it's... God, that whole gym sucks. Oh yeah, get out there with like a level 30 Hoppip and a Sunkern while my Pokemon are sitting at level 42. Go fuck yourself, Justy.
There's a reason why...
Almost threw my GameCube down the stairs.
Yeah, there's a reason why whenever people do a Pokemon challenge, they try to avoid using evasion strats, just because of the fact of how it is purely it's already RNG based greatly with certain moves, but now they made it more RNG heavy on whether or not you'll hit a Pokemon, and at max evasion, a move goes from 100% accurate to 33% accurate. The odds are not in your favor. That's why
it really isn't. It just isn't.
And especially, say it with me, if the move isn't 100% accurate, it's 50%.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking me to say it.
Oh, it's my bad. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, so about the Scarlet and Violet.
If it's not 100% accurate, it's not competitive. It's not competitively viable. That's what you told me last time.
Less, yes, there are exceptions, but
those are exceptions, not the norms.
Exactly, not the status quo.
How many remember like a couple weeks ago you wanted to test out your team? How many scalds did you go through without getting a single burn?
10% chance. Yet it took me to scald you 15 times and I still didn't get... Actually, it's not even a 10%, it's a 30% chance, which means I should have scalded you 5 times.
You scald 15 times in a battle and you didn't get a single burn. I still say I lost that fight, but I won the moral victory. You'll never forget that.
Yeah, honestly, like, it's reasons like that is why, like, you got moves like Focus Blast. In the competitive community, we call it Focus Miss, because it has like a 65% accuracy.
Oh, you were talking about this the other day. I remember, yeah.
And I've won entire games purely because that move missed.
God. Actually, now that I think about it, we started talking about Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So my initial thing about Scarlet and Violet starters. I always need to see the final evolution. I there are some people that like grab a Pokemon based on their first form and first form alone. and I'm not with it. I that final evolution needs to look all right, or like be good looking. Mid evolution can look as bad as it wants. Like I'll say, oh god, it's Mudkip. Like Marsh Stomp looks weird as shit, but Swampert looks cool as hell. So it's like that's all right.
Tell me about it. Kabuskin looks like a walking dick.
Why have I never? Why would you say something so true yet so controversial?
I have opened your eyes, me boy.
And Sceptile, well, Sceptile's just one bad motherfucker. We all love
Yeah,
Sceptile.
no. Yeah, even honestly, he's one of the few starters with a middle line that's good.
Yeah. Like Grovyle looks cool as fuck, dude. Like I remember fucking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. That Grovyle was the coolest motherfucker to ever live.
Oh yes, and even in the Pokemon anime,
fucking sacrifices himself and pushes the Dusknoir into the whatever, I forget what the MacGuffin realm it was, but god, that was such a cool moment. Just shoves himself with the Dusknoir, takes him out of the equation. God, what a cool fucking thing.
Oh yeah, like as a whole.
just real quick, you wake up, it's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, you wake up, you're Pokemon. Which Pokemon are you praying to God you aren't?
You
can't say Dunsparce.
Chikorita. Purely because
yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, no, I'll be real with you. Chikorita has nothing going for it. Meganium, Chikorita, Bayleaf, like the entire line has nothing going for it.
Meganium at least looks cool.
Okay,
it looks better than a lot of different Pokemon. Let's be fair. Meganium is not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. Meganium can be cute.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It's definitely cute, but the problem is, in my opinion, as a grass starter, it looks far more bland than any other grass starter. Hell, I will take my chances with literally any other grass starter long before I've only ever done one playthrough with Chikorita. And honestly, if you've ever want to know what Bulbasaur feels nerfed, play Chikorita.
To be fair, I can't really talk about that much defense about Chikorita because I am a very, very big, as much as I love Feraligatr, as much as I love Totodile, because Totodile is, I love him. He's great. He's fun. I can't say anything but Cyndaquil because I'll always remember the moment of me playing on my little Game Boy and I saw the text, Typhlosion has learned Thunder Punch, and my jaw hit the floor because my world has expanded because my fire type just learned a thunder move and I lost my shit.
Honestly, my first moment of something like that was when I learned Charizard could learn Dig and Fire Red. That was
that's not like okay. That's understandable to a point because he's a like I taught my Dig to my Charmander when he was still a Charmander, so I guess like I wasn't too shocked when that happened. But yeah, personally, I was just like, what in the god, like, no way this is real. Also, funny how in Yellow version you can get your hands on every single starter like no fucking problem.
Oh yeah, in fact, can't you catch most of them by Viridian Forest?
No, you're literally you're given a Charizard, a Squirtle, and a Bulbasaur at certain points in the game. I believe in Vermilion City, you're given I want to say a Squirtle by an Officer Jenny because he keeps getting into trouble, and if you're above a certain level, she'll just give you the Squirtle. You get the Charmander like after. I forget where you get the Charmander, but I do remember you get the Bulbasaur from. You have to backtrack a while, but you just get a Bulbasaur. I forgot. Yeah. It's been years since I played Yellow version. My Yellow version is actually sitting on my shelf in a special display case because it was the version my dad played and got me my Porygon. I love that guy. My dad. I loved playing Pokemon with him when I was little, but he doesn't play as many video games now because he's older. But that was something we really bonded over. And when my sister had at her school in Kimberly, she had a book fair, right? And
Yep.
that was back when we lived over close to. Oh God, yeah, that was years ago. We've moved a couple times since then. But her school had a book fair, and Dad went to it, and she was dead set on getting this Kanto book that had like all the Pokemon listed in it,
Yeah.
and it had a bunch of cool stuff about the games. And I was looking through it, and I was just, I just loved how Porygon looked. I thought he looked funny. I thought he looked cute, and I really wanted him, and I could not ever find him. My dad takes the Game Boy. I was super upset because he takes the Game Boy, goes to work, comes back and shows me he traded someone at work a Porygon. And I was so excited. I still have that Porygon to this day in my yellow
Nice.
version. I love it. I love it. My dad's so fucking cool. Also,
So-
it was so amazing. My dad also fucking figured out how to get a Togepi, and I lost my mind.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, you have to. Apparently, it's a bit complex. I don't remember, or I think I just remember him telling me about it, and I just could not follow it. But like,
Oh,
he
yeah.
said, like I remember he basically described to me how the eggs worked, and he said, "Oh yeah, you have to carry the Togepi around." I'm like, "What? Like Misty carries the Togepi around?" And then it's like, "Oh yeah, it hatches." I'm like, "That's nuts."
So
How weird is it? Like, imagine going back to like yellow version or like
red and blue.
red and blue or like diamond and pearl, and straight up just showing your younger self like sword and shield.
My younger self would lose my mind, honestly, just because the idea of, you mean to tell me that I can actually, and actually the game I'd use, Legends of Arceus. If I showed my younger self Legends of Arceus, I probably would only play that game as a kid. Because mind you, I've done countless playthroughs growing up
We
on.
all have. Let's not forget.
Gener-
Let's not forget. Like me, I literally have. Well, I had. Yeah, I don't want to talk about this again. My sister fucking lost our Sapphire version. As an adult, I would like to mention, not as a child. She lost the fucking Sapphire version I gave her as an adult, and she also lost the Game Boy, our purple Game Boy, that, you know, I gave her when she went to college. She has no idea where either of them are, and it pisses me off because I love my sister, but goddamn.
No, that's fair. So while we're on the topic of Pokemon, like specific Pokemon, what are your thoughts so far on the newer Pokemon they've shown so far? Any promising takes that you like so far? Some you're not a fan of?
The whale.
Like, what are your thoughts so far?
The whale. I want 3.
It's a Titan.
I want
Honestly?
I want us to Titan. I want to see how Lechonk pans out, and I don't know what team's the boss. I forget the boss of Team Star's name. All I know is that her name means apple in Italian, but I don't know what that fucking car Pokemon is. I want one.
Oh, are you talking about Cyclizar?
No. The big car she rides on. It's a Pokemon apparently.
It's like a whole ass machine. I'll have
Yeah.
to relook at that trailer.
Yeah, dude. The engine is a Pokemon. I'm not even kidding. Like, look at the
Huh.
official art. Like, it has an eye and it has a tongue and everything. It's nuts.
No, I'll have to look more into that. I guess it's something I
Reminds
overmissed.
me of the Tinker Slug from Shantae, because Risky Boots literally just strapped an alive creature to a pirate ship.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, you know what would be fucking hilarious? If they gave that thing the single highest speed stat and made it, despite it being that big, really weak defensively, but it's because it's a glass cannon. I think that'd be hilarious.
Probably still couldn't outspeed a Shelder.
It's either going to be slower than Molasses or faster than Hell.
No, I'm thinking of the wrong Pokemon. I just remember like one of the Pokemon like seeing its speed stat was faster than like a lot of Ubers, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You're thinking of Perugly.
Perugly,
Perugly
thank you. I don't know why the fuck I
yes.
said Shelter.
I was a little confused at first, I'm not going to lie, but yeah,
I don't
no,
know. It was literally the first Pokemon that came into mind, but yeah, Perugly outspeeds a bunch of Ubers, and it's just like, what in the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, definitely very odd.
I mean,
Now-
aren't Slacking's like base stats literally better than almost every single Uber, except for like 2?
So yeah, Slacking has I think if I call right, his total stat points is 670 when the average legendary sits around 650 to 680.
Yeah.
So he's got legendary level stats, hence the ability True On.
Yeah, just God, that's how they balanced it. They made it so he couldn't move. But going back to what we were talking about, Team Star, I don't know what the fuck Game Freak's on about. Team Star's like, yeah, whatever. I get that there's supposed to be like 3 storylines now, where you're in the academy, then you're on the gym trail, and then you're on the like Victory Road or whatever the hell. And it's supposed to be 3 separate story modes. Yeah, treasure hunt, whatever. But what the fuck are these teams about now? Even, I mean,
Well,
I don't like the de-escalation of the threat of the teams. We went from actual literal criminals to like more actual criminals to criminals that are willing to commit acts of terrorism and destroy the literal fucking earth, to now we are going towards like organized units of gangs, and now we have like eco-terrorists, which instead of just chaining themselves to a bus, they literally launch a bomb and blow up buildings and then actually commit almost genocide by flooding and or burning everyone to death. To another team that wants to destroy the world, to I am going to destroy all life on the planet, to soccer hooligans, I'm sorry, I skipped one, to a gang that doesn't know the first thing about crime, or they think they know what crime is about, to soccer hooligans, to schoolyard delinquents.
Yeah.
Where is the threat?
So, real quick, I have been actually trying to avoid what the evil team is planning on Scarlet and Violet. However, from what I've seen, I'm already likely going to like them more than Team Skull or Team Yell. Just because the fact
I
that
hated Team Yell. They had nothing going for them. Literally nothing.
They, as you described, they were just soccer hooligans. Team Skull were just those types of people you see sitting outside of a 7-Eleven parking lot smoking.
I told you. They're literally a gang that doesn't know how to do crime. That's literally what they are. I saw a webcomic that really took up the piss out of it, where it's just like, are you guys even criminals? Hey, we stole a speed limit sign yesterday. They already put a new one up. Oh. It's just like, dude, I don't know what Team Skull's on about. Like, they're fucking, they aren't a threat. I mean, yeah, Guzma kind of looks cool, but he kind of only looks cool.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I actually liked Guzma because he's actually, as an actual character, he's not bad.
He's not.
And Team Yell, Marnie didn't really want them there. And
like, it would be a billion times different if Team Marnie was the one, like, stirring the pot and getting them all hyped and, like, sending them out to do bullshit. That'd be different. But it's not. And therefore, it's dumb. Like, really dumb.
Oh, absolutely. And so, I don't know how I feel about the new evil team yet. I'm gonna wait until they show it in a trailer, because that's, like, I won't lie, I do pay close attention to the leaks, but the trailers are what I'm going off of with my opinions and my excitement primarily.
It's just incredible to me. Just like fucking, you have like the world was at stake back in the day. I remember playing Hoenn region and getting out of the Cave of Origin, and coming outside and being actually kind of worried because that music was playing. You know what music I'm talking about.
Yes.
And either seeing the torrential downpour that's like super bad, or seeing the waves of heat wash over everything. Like, I was genuinely worried for those couple minutes before, like, getting to Rayquaza was a fucking mission. I was running my ass off trying to get up there. Every Pokemon encounter felt like I was wasting precious seconds. What happened in Sword and Shield? Oh, everything happened off screen. It's fine now. It's fine. We took care of the Dynamax Pokemon. Except for Bede. He fucking took his out and he just has beef with you, so he's gonna fight you anyways. Like, do you want me invested or not?
The thing is like, at least with Sword and Shield, Eternatus could have actually was in a position to cause ecosystem like problems throughout the region. That's where I'm giving Sword and Shield a little less black towards it.
Yeah, but the problem
And
is you can tell me a Pokemon does this or that if you don't show me the like. Okay, imagine if you go into town and there are like you see like a Dynamax raid going on in the middle of town and like buildings are on fire or being destroyed or other things like that. Or if not, you don't get to go through town. They still like cutscene you into the gym, but at least you get to see a cutscene of that going on. You know what I mean? It would at least make it seem like every wasted second, like people are dying. Like, where's the worry? Where's the anything? Most of the cities just have a single Dynamax Pokemon hanging around in the gym. They've already caught it in the gym. Like, why should I, like, how should I treat this as anything but, like, a dalliance on the way to what I'm trying to do? You know what I mean?
And that's fair. And I mean, granted, I will say this in Sword and Shield, they don't really do a good job of showing it, but that's because they tell you of what could potentially happen. Because mind you, those Pokemon are Dynamaxing without anyone having control over them. And mind you, Dynamax Mons actually retain the weight and the mass that comes with it.
Well,
So
yeah,
when you get
obviously. I mean, that's how it works. But I'm saying, like, it'd make more sense to even just make a CG, even if it was just bad. Just seeing the Dynamax Pokemon, like, punch a building, even if the building doesn't break. It's like, oh, God! Oh, we need to do something about that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure as to why they're not choosing to go down that route a bit. Do get cutscenes. I mean, hell, you get a cutscene every time you go into a max raid.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I'm having a decent amount of more faith because I have an idea that, like, at least in this game, the biggest threat might be, oh, we got to find this treasure. Otherwise, the whole time sphere will be screwed up. Hence, with the whole idea of past and future.
We already fixed time.
You're right, but in a sense of we were going to destroy it if Dialga and Palkia square up with one another. And this one, it's more along the lines of maybe something happened with maybe a time traveling machine.
Like, I feel like just my problem with Pokemon is that, like, and I know this might just be nostalgia goggles, but I just remember Pokemon being better. You know what I mean?
I will say this much.
I remember Pokemon genuinely meaning something. I mean, I'm still excited. I still play the games, but, like, do I enjoy them anymore, or am I just going through the motions? Like, when I play, like, the only reason I'm playing Diamond and Pearl, I'm sorry, not Diamond and Pearl, the only reason I'm playing, like, Shining Pearl right now is, just because I'm doing a Nuzlocke in it, and I want to see it to fruition. That's literally the only thing that keeps me coming back. I'm not coming back for the story. I know the story. I'm not coming back for the graphics. They're lame.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I think a big part of it is nostalgia goggles because, I mean, let's be real. When you're 10 years old, you not getting a goddamn cookie is going to make your day seem...
Yeah, it's gonna make or break your day.
Exactly. Whereas we as adults, and that's where, honestly, I will at least give some credit to Game Freak, where a lot of the issues, if you don't really if you choose not to think too much about it, yeah, no, it's next to no issue. There's no thing, but that's because you got to kind of go more into it. Now, I'm not saying that for every game because, at least with Sun and Moon, it was all about dimensions being problematic. Hell, I mean, that's how we saw What's Her Bucket get combined with a Battle Beast or
Ultra Beast.
Ultra Beast, thank you. I could not remember their life for life. Anyway,
I wanted to see my shiny Mightyena again, so I was playing Moon recently.
Gotcha. I
love her so much. I love that I still have my first shiny from Hoenn in that game.
Oh yeah, and I mean, in regards to this, I think we're gonna mess around with the time theme again because we also did mess with Dimension with Giratina in Gen 4. We messed with it again in Gen 7.
I remember being in high school at one point and seeing this comic where the boy Pokemon trainer Red and girl Pokemon trainer Green are both, Leaf, are both talking. And they're talking about like all the adventures they went on, like how many legendaries. It's like legendary dogs. I got that one because he's looking through his Pokédex. And then she at one point just says, "All right, then, we'll take on God." And then he just says, "Yeah, we got that one too." And then Smash cuts to a bunch of like worried, like old Japanese men in a Nintendo boardroom just sweating profusely.
Yeah, it's a little hard to honestly, I definitely think they peaked a little too fast with Gen 4 if they were continuing Pokemon because we did kind of already mess with time, space, dimensions, and God itself. You don't really get too much higher than that, but that's why I think they're more or less going to be focusing on there's outside of means, perhaps caused by humans, that are causing these to get all screwed up rather than just the Pokemon naturally screwing it up if they choose to encounter and
Like
fight one another.
I feel like Nintendo could go back to things and just twist them. You know what I mean? Like, I bet you there's like more to do in the reverse world, because the reverse world in game versus the reverse world in the movie is like two very different animals. I remember when Jirachi the Sky Warrior came out. Wait, no.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to, but like along with that lines, you got to bear
What
in
the
mind
fuck
of what.
was the name of that Pokemon?
Are you talking about Shaman the Sky
Shaman!
Warrior?
Thank you. Oh my god, I don't know why the fuck I went to Jirachi. But Shaman the Sky Warrior, like I remember watching that movie and just like it becoming my favorite like Pokemon movie for a while. And then I
Yeah.
realized Pokemon 2000 still existed. But I remember watching that movie and just thinking the reverse world was so interesting. It was so cool and such a unique idea. Just like have everything be the same in space, but just different. So it's like, you know, those like giant ice pillars were holding, you know what I mean? So one affects the other, right? Like, that's such
Yeah.
a cool idea. Why'd they never go back to it?
Yeah, as to whether or not part of that's because of the fact that they did outsource.
And I
Going
know,
back,
I
right?
know, I know. You gotta move forward. You gotta change things up. People who play video games are very fickle and like short attention span bunch. We all are. Like we want new things, but we want old things done new but better. It's like, how the fuck do you even do that, right? Like how, just to redefine what I just said. That's what people want. How do you define that? How do you make a game that's that exactly? And I feel like Game Freak is in a similar situation, because it's like they're inundated with people clamoring about what they want for Pokemon. They've already done that before, so it's not going to perform the way they think it will, or that the consumers think it will. So it's like, you know what I mean? But also Game Freak is stone faced and stalwart in not wanting to change or improve anything. So what the fuck?
I definitely think that's part of it, but I think another thing that we got to bear in mind, as fortunate as it is that a lot of people that grew up with that, a lot of us don't even really touch Pokemon anymore. Don't get me wrong, there's still a large loyal fan base around our age group. However, it is not the same as, we were all growing up as kids, and it's kind of like this, they're prepping games for the new generation
Yeah,
of
but
Pokemon players.
I feel like that argument falls apart a little bit by the older games just genuinely being harder. Like I remember in Hoenn, at least when I was in middle school, having trouble with May sometimes, and like my team just not having the proper comp to deal with a gym, so I had to go out and grind for hours, or just grab a new Pokemon and train that thing up and just hope it works. Like,
And
I'll say this: I didn't white out in a single gym my first time playing Sword and Shield. My first time playing Hoenn, I had trouble like in 3 specific places. After the electric gym, you have to go, or right before the electric gym, you meet May in that path like that goes underneath the bike pass. I have trouble with that fight.
one.
I had trouble with that fight. I had trouble with the electric gym
Okay,
my
yeah.
first time through, and I had trouble with Winona.
Yeah, so real quick with that,
because her Altaria, god damn. But yeah, those were the 3 parts that really gave me trouble as a kid. Cause but there wasn't a single moment in Sword and Shield where in the back of my mind I wasn't saying I got this, or this is like I lose a Pokemon, I'll give him the runaround. Watch this shit as I throw either my starter or another mon I had in the back, and he just either throws out 3 crits because he's friendship, or you know what I mean, like that
So real
argument
quick
falls
with
apart
that-
a little bit when you take into account that the older games were just genuinely harder, but still made for kids.
So actually, the argument holds together better than you think, because I have younger brothers, right, that are around the age bracket that Pokemon meant for, and going off of them and their interaction with their friends is that they're not as willing to fight through the hard nitty gritty of things, right? Because let's be real, we as kids, all of our games were a lot harder, and it's the same with the games that came out when our parents were our age, or their age. Those games were even harder than the games we had. They're progressively getting easier just because kids naturally don't have that long of an attention span anymore.
Yeah,
with all
but
the sheer
dude,
number of things out.
Yeah, but
It
dude,
like
I am autistic, and I still, well, I shouldn't say autistic. It's offset, but regardless, like I have ADHD and offset. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not using it as a crutch to like defend my point. I'm literally saying like, kids are a lot more determined than we give them credit for. The problem is that if they have a bunch of different games, they're obviously going to like cool off, gravitate towards another game that's easier. I do that sometimes when I'm at a certain part or I'm at my limit with a game or like a. I remember I had to take 5 one night and just switch over to Animal Crossing for a hot minute because I was just not having any luck with an Elatreon fight. We just couldn't. I just couldn't get a good team together. But at the same time, back in the day, I wanted to fucking get past that part with May because I wanted to see the rest of the game. I wanted to train up my Pokemon. I wanted to see them evolve. I wanted to get to the rest of the Pokemon that I knew were ahead. I wanted to get a Trapinch. I wanted to get a Flygon. I wanted to get a Skarmory. Like, I wanted these things. So I pushed myself to go past it. And I was still a kid. I feel like you can't just give kids easy outs like that. Okay. When I was little, I had this game. Spider-Man game, PS1, right?
I think I know which one you're talking about because I might have had the same one.
Exactly. So, there's this part in that game where you gotta use Spider-Man. There's this building on fire, right?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man has to break open a fire extinguisher to put the fire out. For the life of me, I could not fucking figure out how to do it. I got so upset. I got mad. I threw a fit over it. And oh God, what did my dad tell me? I just remember my dad essentially telling me that if I'm going to rage that hard and not actually work my way through it, like, I shouldn't actually even be playing, the video game in the first place. And I guess, as usual, like, my dad's words sort of hit me in the stomach because like, I don't know why, but my dad has this way of just saying shit that hits me in the like, best and worst way possible. Like,
Yeah, it's called respect and disappointment. That's what it is.
Exactly. Exactly. But I remember eventually finally doing it, and I felt way better about myself. And like my dad did other crap with that too. You know what I mean? Like this is really dumb, but there's this Star Wars game for the Phantom Menace that's on PS1, and there's a level where you go into the Gungan city, and you can just totally kill a couple of Gungans or their animals that are like walking around.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. But I remember my dad came into my room one day and he saw me playing the game and he just looked at the screen and he's like, "Why do you have your lightsaber out?" And I'm like, cuz it's out." And he's like, "You weren't killing anyone in were you?" And I was like, my dad could tell I was lying. And he just said, "Hey, Jedi don't kill needlessly. They don't kill things for fun. They only kill because they have to or because, they're fighting a Sith." And I felt, honest to God, bad. Like, I felt, like, really bad about that. You know what I mean? And it still hits me because every time I play a video game or whatever, I feel bad when I kill something and I'm like, I just killed that for fun. Why the fuck did I do that?
So, real quick,
the same thing for Pokemon. Like, I remember screaming at Brock at one point, and I don't even remember what Dad told me about Brock. I just remember, like, it hit me the same way, and I'm just like, like where's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, real quick, bear in mind, I say this not only from my own experience, as I am around a lot of younger kids, thanks to the fact I have younger siblings. But it's also statistically shown that kids don't want to put in as much effort to overcome trials. And unfortunately, it's not up to the Game Freak to determine, well, we got to make them put in effort. That's why they're not going to make the games inherently harder, except for, like, I don't know, games like Legend Arceus that it's not really meant for the younger kids. It's meant more for us older folk that want to still enjoy a Pokemon game with some level of threat and some level of difficulty.
I love how in Arceus. Is it Arceus or Arceus? Do they go back? Which one is it again?
It's okay. I have seen it both said as Arceus and Arceus. Those are the two.
It always bothered me because I always thought Arceus sounds way better than Arceus.
Yeah, I always thought it was. I've also seen Arceus. Like, I have never seen like a genuine straight up. This is how it's described. I know I'll be able to find it somewhere. I just choose not to because screw that.
I bet you anything they say it in the anime.
Yeah, I don't want to call him Arcus. That does not sound right to me.
I've never heard it Arcus.
Oh, I've
That's
heard that countless times, and I'm terrified
God,
that's the canon.
God, Utah's fucking nuts that you heard it talk.
Oh, it's
like
not even
that.
YouTube. No, it's YouTube. Pokemon YouTubers, not Utah. Pokemon YouTubers is where I hear Arcus from, and I'm like, is that right? And I'm really praying that's not the case.
That's like I think it was Luton that was talking about the Tyranids, and he said Hive Fleet. No, it wasn't Luton. Who was it? Was it Luton? I don't remember, but he was talking and it was like Hive Fleet Behemoth, and I'm like, no, it's Behemoth. It's literally just Behemoth. What makes you think it's Behemoth? Anyways, but yeah, back to
get us on back to Scarlet and Violet.
Back to Pokemon. Stop just talking about Pokemon to talk about Pokemon.
So
the starters.
The starters, and in general, the Pokemon that we've seen thus far that they have shown us. I actually pulled up a list of all the.
Titan looks cool. I'll say that much. The new Wooper, like I'm curious to see as to what like the new Quagsire will look like, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. Honestly, comparing this Wooper to the traditional one, I'm loving the Paldean region one.
It's kind of weird that they would give Wooper a new form out of all Pokemon. I mean Wooper was always seen as like, you know, that's like the water sweeper that you need. But like looking at all the other Pokemons they have, like they look interesting at least. Like Cyclizar is like, I don't know, it's just sort of
the Legends.
Exactly, but it's just sort of there. Like I'll say this, Cyclizar in concept looks cool, but he just looks too muted for me. You know what I mean? Like if it was a brighter green, like maybe like an emerald green, it would look better, but it's just not doing it for me. Like there's a lot of Pokemon that are quote unquote new that just don't do it for me anymore.
Will say,
and like the starters, like I'm glad we finally have a ghost type in a starter lineup for once, but I just don't like. I just don't know what I think of these starters yet. You know what I mean? Like I said, I probably have to see the final forms before I make my pick.
I'm really in the same boat.
I really don't think I'm gonna be able to, like, you know, I don't want to fall into that trap of just like, oh, this one's cute. It becomes not cute and even worse. What have I done?
Yeah, no, like I'm excited to see them. I'm realistically going to go with Fuecoco personally, just because one, I find him hilarious and adorable. And I'm just hoping to God that his final evolution looks good. If it looks terrible, I'll probably go with Sprigatito or Quaxley. I will say though, the one Pokemon that I'm ironically a huge fan of is going to be. I don't wrong. I love the name Lechonk.
I love how we see a snippet of Lechonk just vibing, and the internet goes off and like dethrones the fucking Bidoof as the god Pokemon as now Lechonk.
Yeah, like so for me, I'm actually more excited about Cerulege, being in the most recent trailer.
Is that the Mega Man Pokemon?
The sword one of the two.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry about that, folks. Technical difficulties. Fucking somebody French kissed a Magnemite outside.
It is what it is.
Quite literally, it is what it is.
So,
I don't even remember what the hell we're talking about as I was trying to get my computer back on. Let's just go back to
I was bringing up Cerulege and other Pokemon they showed Armor.
Oh,
the
right,
two
the
Mega Man.
Yeah, the Mega Man Pokemon.
So I see where people are saying like they're not the biggest fans of them, and don't get me wrong, they're incredibly humanoid. But I will lie, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least partially a fan of them, especially Cerulege Sword one.
I still abide by the rule that our God and Savior Alpharad has fucking told us that if it can wear a hoodie, it's furry bait. and I didn't think his logic stood for a while until I really thought about it, and I'm like, oh my god, he's right. If it has the anatomy to wear a hoodie, it's furry bait.
Although I will say these are literal living suits of armor, not so much animal. If they're animals, that's a difference.
You know,
But they,
somebody's already drawn the art. You more than me should know that by now.
now don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure there's a rule 34 of a fucking stop sign. So to say there's rule 34 art of these two, completely not out of the question. Like it would not I'd be more surprised if there wasn't. However, I choose not to confirm or deny that because I don't want to see shit that come up with. But
I can never just get over the fact that, you know, just like Pokemon comes out. What's the first thing people do? They don't talk about Pokemon. They go off. They just go off, and that's where we're gonna leave that conversation.
so I wanted to go over Terastal, the gimmick.
Yes, hidden power made into a game gimmick, because that's literally every single Pokemon has some type of gimmick. Like in Hoenn region, the gimmick was double battles, and I still say there should be way more double battles. I mean, yes, I know Pokemon Coliseum exists, and that entire game is just well, not the entire game. Actually, the entire game's double battles.
Yeah, like.
But I still say double battles. There need to be more double battles in Pokemon because double battles are cool as shit.
I can see both reasons as to why they go into double battles, but don't get me wrong. I think it should be optional. Like, hey, do you want to do more? I wouldn't feel like there should be at least an option to make it so like
you could even just make that normally, just like if the person has two Pokemon, just throw out two Pokemon at once. You know,
the problem is double battles do fundamentally change how you do a battle due to many moves also harming your Pokemon. Like, let's be real, you wouldn't want to accidentally do a Nuzlocke and be forced to have like an electric type with a ground type and earthquake, and now you just KO'd one of your fucking mons in a Nuzlocke.
Then plan around it. It'd be fun. You know what I mean?
Say that like you can plan a Nuzlocke.
I want to do like more interesting things with my Pokemon. That's another problem I have with modern Pokemon games. I don't get to do enough with my Pokemon. There's not enough kinetics with my Pokemon. Yeah, they can walk around and follow me. I can sit at a campsite and watch them walk around and do little funny things or throw a ball to them, but there's not left, like, you know, I want to go out and I just want to do stuff with my Pokemon. I want to do stuff with my character. I want more kinetics in Pokemon.
I would argue there's more of that than we've had in previous ones, because it was a shocker when Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out and we could see them walking behind us.
That's different though.
Like,
but regardless, like what I'm talking about is like, you know, forgive me. What I'm talking about is like, you know, I want more, like, now that the game is newer and it has the kinetics, I want to see more like things I can do with my Pokemon. I want to like be able to just, you know, just do stuff with them. Like fucking just give me a little scene of us like just doing something together. I don't know how to put it into words without sounding weird. You know what I mean?
I see where you're coming from, and what I hope for is they make that entirely optional, because you've got an entire player base like myself.
I don't want this to come off weird when I say this, but like, wouldn't it be funny just to, like, I don't know, like, just you're walking along, there's like a you know, like a stereo around, and you could just jam out with your Pokemon for a minute. Like, how kind of fun would that be? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird, or maybe I'm just like, you know, wanting to, like, I don't know. I guess I just want to like have.
You want to do more than battle with just your Pokemon. That's what you want.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, and you see, I think that's good because, I mean, granted, we had the Pokemon contests, we had the Pokemon Athlons or whatever the hell they called it in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where you can basically do like Olympic like games with them. And there's a couple other things that they've tried implementing. The problem is that people are not interested in. I mean, when you and I hopped
there
on
was that area in Johto you could take your Pokemon to dance in. I guess that's where my mind went to. But like your Pokemon sprite just moves around a little bit. That's all that happens.
Yeah, but at the same time, those games, it was at least once you could.
Yeah.
But
Oh, Oh
the
god.
problem. Oh, all good.
Yeah, oh good. Just fucking
Okay.
drop something.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, no. The problem is,
I
it's just
dropped
that
my terrestrialize on the ground.
this. The problem is that anytime they do include that, very rarely are people actually like, "Yo, that's lit." Outside of your Pokemon following, I have never really heard anyone say, "Yo, this is great." Don't get me wrong. I know there's people out there that do appreciate that, but they're not going to keep dedicating more resources towards that if people are not a fan of it. And
They barely dedicate resources towards the game. Period.
yes, and but that's um me personally. I don't really care for that stuff. So if as long as they don't try to cram it down my throat, like how in the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire remakes, where you had to do the damn what is it, contest? Yeah, no, I hated that.
Oh yeah,
That-
they manually make you go into a contest to get the cosplay Pikachu.
when it's like I
Then again, you just hate stuff that gets in the way of your not even Pokemon, just in video games in general. If the game makes you do anything, you always hate it, no matter what it is. Like you can't just say that, oh, this was the worst ever. It's like, dude, you just hate things like that in general.
yes and no.
I remember you flipped your shit the first time I showed you Monster Hunter when I told you, yeah, you have to do this urgent before you go on to the next set of quests.
Well, it's your boys on an objective. I do not care for the smaller fine details. What do you think I went all the way until like the end of the game before I even made any food? Because I felt it slowing me down.
Exactly.
Like, as long as
You see what I'm dealing with here, people.
hey man, I made the game more enjoyable for myself because I made it so it's less brain off Unga Bunga.
What the fuck are you playing again? We're talking about Pokemon, not that.
Yeah, but regardless,
We can talk about Pokemon. The only way we can talk about Pokemon Monster Hunter is we're talking about stories, but we're not. Anyways, back to talking bullshit. So Terrastalize, hidden power made as a gimmick.
honestly,
I will
I'm all
say
for it.
this. I'm not sure how I feel about this.
I want to hear why. Why are you like 50-50 about it?
Just because, like, I feel like the gimmicks have just sort of been meh. You know what I mean? Like, Dynamax was cool, but it was executed poorly. You know what I mean? Like, Z evolutions were also kind of cool, but, like, they were very just like, hey, is this Pokemon get a Z evolution? No. Okay. And then it's just like, then you had oh wait, no, it was X and Y forms, if I remember correctly.
So you're talking about Mega Evolutions.
Megaforms, thank you, Megaforms. Like the Mega Evolutions were like cool, but then there was those moments where I was like, hey, does this Pokemon get a Mega Evolution? No, okay. You know what I mean? Granted, there are a lot of good Mega Evolutions out there, but like they hit all the big ones, but it's like, I mean, I also am happy to have a Mega Evolution Beedrill just because Beedrill deserves more love. Fuck all of you. But like that was cool. I enjoyed Mega Evolutions. Like I said, Dynamax was cool, but it was executed poorly. And then Gigantamax, well, there just should have been more Gigantamax Pokemon, period. And like in my opinion, yes, having every Pokemon be capable of Dynamaxing was maybe a weird idea. Maybe they should have just made specific Pokemon Gigantamax and left it there. It would have made things like more like interesting, and then like release more Gigantamax Pokemon with every DLC pack, right?
So, in regards to that, when you say that you feel like they did it poorly and you think it's weird that every Pokemon can
No.
Dynamax,
I think it's cool. I just think it was executed poorly.
yeah, that's the part I'm curious as to why you think it was executed poorly. I'm not saying I agree. I just want to hear why.
Okay, let me say it like this. You can Dynamax a Caterpie.
Yep.
Why though? Like, if you really wanted to, you can Dynamax any Pokemon you want. And what's the fucking point though? Like, yeah, I could Dynamax a Mudbray. Yeah, I could Dynamax a Ditto. Yeah, I could Dynamax a whatever the hell have you that comes across. But, like, the real pull was the Gigantamax forms, and there's like 12.
So, my obviously,
Ow.
don't get me wrong. I think they were done not necessarily poorly, but I
Like
wasn't. I did,
mega evolutions are different. You know what I mean? In the sense that, like not every Pokemon could mega evolution and get weird and cool. If they could, that would have been nuts. But they didn't, so that's what made the mega evolutions cool. And but then that also brings the idea of just like, okay, and if any Pokemon could Dynamax, what's the point of just, you know what I mean?
so my argument to that is then by that logic, then you would be the problem I had with Mega Evolution was that they made a couple mons far too powerful, and it made it so teams weren't as diverse. Despite the fact that during X and Y, we had one of the largest pools of Pokemon available in not only the competitive scene, but in average playthrough. If you wanted to use Mega Evolutions, you were limited to what type of Mons you could use. Dynamax allowed you the freedom to use whatever Mon you wanted, and you could choose which Mon Dynamax of your choosing, and you get to use the gimmick the entirety of the game, whereas in X and Y, you didn't get access to Mega Evolutions until the fourth gym. So I like having access to the gimmick the entirety of the game. I find that personally more enjoyable. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely think the Dynamax they went a little too ham by making every move on that Pokemon basically a Z move while doubling their health bar.
That's another thing that drove me nuts was just like, all the big moves. Like, it was just like, okay, you can do this move or this move. Like, there's no, like, we were recording the intro for this series. Like, I noticed it again, and I remembered why I dislike Dynamax raids. Because every single move looks the same no matter what move you use. And it just gets old, like, after a while. After you've seen them all, that's kind of all there is, right?
And don't get me wrong, it was like that with the Z crystals as well. Like Dynamax and Gigantamax were supposed to be a combination of Mega
Oh yes,
Evolution.
just throw the Pikachu and watch your enemy die. Still one
Yeah,
of my
no,
favorites. Still one of my favorite Z attacks is just you throw the fucking Pikachu, just like you're trying to dunk that bitch.
yeah, don't get me wrong. I was not a fan of Z moves. I loved Mega Evolution. I hated the Z moves purely because that was basically a one move, and that was the one part of Dynamax I didn't like because you made any Pokemon effectively able to hit like a freight train on steroids, regardless of how weak they are. And if they didn't, if I don't mind if they gave it maybe a 20% boost, I would have been okay with it. But a lot of these moves,
Another problem I had with Dynamaxing, sorry, it's just like you could have a Gigantamax Pokemon and then a normal Pokemon that couldn't Gigantamax, even though it has a Gigantamax form. Why? Why would you even think that was a fucking good idea? Just make the Pokemon that can Gigantamax by default. Makes no fucking sense.
I will say I'm happy they at least did remedy that issue with the Isle of Armor because I
Yeah,
had a
yeah, the
shiny
fucking
Corviknight.
yeah, but you gotta fucking grind out of your goddamn ass.
Not as much as you think, actually. I grinded for 5 minutes and was able to, so I could Gigantamax my Corviknight.
You must have better luck than I do because I fucking went on like maybe 8 raids and only got 1 mushroom for my goddamn trouble.
It's because you can find them in the Overworld fam. You don't have to do raids.
No, that's what I mean. I only found like 1 in a cave after doing 8 raids.
Yeah, all I did was I went around the world once, found the mountain I needed, slapped him in, and called it a day.
Lucky. Regardless. Terrestrialize. I'm hopeful, but keeping my expectations low. I'll just say that much. I'm expecting Game Freak to let me down like they have before. But I would be surprised if Terrestrialize is cool. I like the idea of just like having Pokemon just whip out a big middle finger and just say, "Ha, you're weak to this." No, you are. You know what I mean?
Oh yes,
Like the idea of power switching a fucking Pikachu to like do fire moves or even grass type moves and just really come in clutch. I'm like, that's interesting. I like this concept. However, I'm afraid it's gonna be all flash and no substance.
well, I mean, they basically showed us what is to be expected of it, and going off of that, I'm personally excited from it as not only like a gameplay type of thing, as in just playing the game, but especially in the competitive scene that opens up so
I just want to
many.
say another thing. just super quick. I just
What's up?
I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, but
No, you're good.
also some of those crowns are a little ridiculous.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think they look dumb as hell. I'm gonna be the first to say it right now.
Like
I think they
when
should have looked
in the trailer when that Sudowoodo gets the crown, I'm just like, that looks dumb.
Yeah.
Like
no,
like the Eevee with the big normal type crown. I'm just like, dear God, it's fucking bigger than the Eevee. Is he gonna crack his neck?
yeah, like they're basically got chandeliers on their heads, and I won't lie, I don't like how they look. I'm not a fan of it, but the idea of you can pull an Uno reverse, like you mentioned earlier, and in a competitive scene where you have no idea what type they have as Terrestrial, and that adds such a nice level of like, can you big brain this? Are you gonna double down and make your Mon hit even harder?
Can you imagine the world's craziest terrestrialized like bait and switch? You have your Zoroark go out as like a fucking Blaziken, and then you terrestrialize it with a fire crown, and it's like, wait a second, what? And then you switch back, and it's fucking it's a Zoroark with the terrestrialized. Like, how nuts would that be?
God. I even remember seeing in the trailer, they showed a Tyranitar being terrestrialized to Ghost and avoiding a close combat. When I saw that, I was so excited.
That's top tier. I still am expecting to be let down, because it's better to keep your expectations low. Like, you know, like I said, I'm still worried about the fucking the D&D movie, because, you know, they always look good. I'll judge it when it comes out. You know what I mean? No need to get on the hype train just yet.
And you got a valid point. Me personally,
Like, I keep my expectations low, but I remain hopeful. Maybe it'll be cool, maybe it will not be.
the
But you
reason
never
why
know until it's out. You know what I mean?
the reason why I'm not having my expectations be low with Terrestrialize is because we've already seen all that it offers. There's nothing really new, surprising about it, outside of maybe on how to acquire certain Terrestrial types.
Exactly. Like, you can never just say for sure, like, oh, it'll be like this because it's not out yet. We don't know if the way to get terrestrialized is bullshit yet.
You're right. They did say it was supposed to be like a raid mechanic. So, as to how much of a pain in the ass that is the only thing
Can
left
you
available.
imagine doing a raid on a Tyranitar and you have your moves all set and it fucking terrestrializes into Ghost and you can't hurt it and the raid timer runs out? Like, what if we encounter that type of bullshit is what I'm saying.
Here's where I'm grateful. I don't have to worry about that because I have not had that issue.
Like,
But, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, me personally, I think that my expectations are fine as where they are, where I don't really have any expectations due to the fact that I've already seen what their only thing that would make it a pain in the ass is make it so each raid takes 20 minutes. However, I think they're going to do the same thing as like they did max raids and Shield. And if that's how it is, then lit. They would have superseded my expectations of those first leaks about it. And honestly, I got to give them props, especially since it fixes the problem with hidden power where you can't just have that on every single mon. And instead, you got to pick one that gets it, or do you want to double down and do an assload of damage? You know, that's what I like. I think it's great as a new level of competitive, adds a new way to play the game, and that's all I ask for. Anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just like, you know, I mean, I have decently okayish hopes for a Pokemon game, and I can't remember the last time I felt that. But, you know, I mean, we'll have to see it when it comes out. And I will say this, like, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna try and poo-poo on it and, like, you know, rain on everyone's parade. But I will say that, you know, we have been burned in the past by Pokemon, but Pokemon's still good. It's the reason it's still fucking #1 in the world, and I'm still excited for it to come out, and then I'll judge it accordingly when it does. Also, before we end, have you seen the the Mewtwo Stasis Pod in the Japan Pokemon store?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Bro, oh my god, you gotta see this. Hang on a second. Let me get this for you.
Yeah, I'm down to take because I remember every so often my phone will give me like random like little like you know like the Google what newsletters, I guess, or like little Google journalists that they'll post on there. Every so often my phone will give me shit about that, like with Genshin, Pokemon, anything gaming related, essentially. And I remember seeing something about there being a YouTube like stasis pod, and I was intending to read it. I hadn't gotten to it, but I'm glad to check it out. I would say overall, I'm very excited for Scarlet and Violet. Oh, it's a video? All right. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's just legit a Mew stasis pod in the Japanese Pokemon Center store in Shibuya.
Like,
Like
that's lit.
and here's the thing, it's not like a static thing, it moves. It's like a real ass legit like thing. It's amazing.
That is pretty cool.
It's like at around 16 seconds. Like, Jesus, look at that thing. He is breathing in there.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually. Huh. I wonder what made them decide to do that.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's one of the most prolific like Pokemon like out there. Period.
I will say I feel bad because there's no Pokemon I could think of that's had a deeper fall of grace than Mewtwo. Like, don't get me wrong, even in the competitive scene, Mewtwo's still cracked.
Oh my God, fucking, like I can't get over the fact that Mewtwo just gets the shaft at every single turning point now, even though he's technically one of the strongest Pokemon. Period.
Yeah,
Like
don't get me wrong.
if you can tow it with Mew who can kick the shit out of Arceus if he so chooses, or Arceus, I don't fucking remember which. I still say Arceus sounds better. Like, Mew can kick the shit out of Arceus if he so chooses. He just doesn't.
I actually think it's the other way around. Because my theory is that Arceus created Mew and then used Mew as a template to make all the other Mon.
Mew is still stated as being the first Pokemon, so I don't like
First Pokemon created by who, though?
I still don't know how the fuck they. I bet you anything, like that's gonna be all retrofitted lore because, like, you know, I bet you when they made the first Pokemon movie, they didn't think there'd be another God Pokemon. All right, so that is the end of the first episode. We talked a bit about Pokemon and other bullshit. I mean, I think we did a good job.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I think next time we'll have to stick to it a little bit more. But for a
This
first
is
one,
the,
not
this is
bad.
the this is the first episode. We had no idea what the hell we were doing. All we had was an idea, a dream, and a cool intro.
Yeah. Hopefully next time I'll be able to pre-plan some shit a bit better.
Yes, maybe I won't ad hoc this as much the next time either. All right, everyone. I'll see you on the next adventure. Next time we'll have more interesting Pokemon stuff to talk about. We're gonna be talking about the oh god, what will we be talking about next time? We're gonna be talking about next week. We are going to be talking about regions. Which ones are the best? Which ones are the lamest? Unova. I'm kidding.
I was about to say that is a fast way to light yourself.
Or am I? Or am I? I'm kidding. By the way, Unova's fine, but stay tuned. But come check us out next. Okay, I'm just gonna stop with this intro. I've already fucked it. Good night, everyone.
Good night.